Hey all, my name is Jamie Fry. Welcome to Burrow Builds. Have you ever had a problem with messy garages, unorganized, or messy workspaces? Well, my wife and I had this exact problem, and to be specific, our camping gear. Well, we decided, let's come up with an idea to fix this. A mobile storage cabinet is what we came up with. We decided to look on the internet, see if maybe something's out there. We found them, $600 to $800, and you still had to put it together yourself. Frankly, I don't know how strong they'd be. Well, we like to build things. So me and my wife sat down and designed something that would work for us. Come on in and take a look at it. To preface, because not everybody out there has access to higher end machinery to do this work, I decided to make all the cuts with a battery-powered circular saw to show the do-it-yourselfers how it can be done with one, if that was all you had available. If you have a table saw or chop saw available, by all means, that would be preferable and a more precise method to use. Hey all, it's build day. I purchased all my materials and I'm ready to get started. So let's get on it. First, I needed to build the base, which would be made out of 4x4 pressure treated for strength and durability. I cut 2 pieces to length and 3 pieces to length as well to be butt jointed in between the long pieces, 1 at each end and 1 in the middle. I then attached these with 6-inch timber screws. Next, I set up to cut the sides and top of the cabinet out of the sheets of 3/4 inch plywood. Because they will all be the same width, which is the depth of the cabinet, I can stack and clamp multiple sheets and cut with one pass of the circular saw. I snap a chalk line directly in the center of the top piece of plywood lengthwise and make the cut. I then place the base on a flat surface and set up a sawhorse at each end of the base to be an extra set of hands to hold the sides while I attach them to the base with 3-inch timber screws. I then place the started cabinet with the 2 sides and the base face down onto 4 sawhorses to attach the top and the back and the casters. I first attached the top with 2-inch screws to complete the cabinet shell. For the back, we designed it to be the exact width of a sheet of plywood to make better use of our materials as well as make less cuts. I started by attaching the back to the top of the cabinet by countersinking 2-inch screws to help with the lining up of the 2 pieces. At this point, your back piece will probably not line up with the rest of the cabinet. You will have to move to the bottom of the cabinet and adjust the back piece to line up with the sides, then lock it in with the bottom screws. This helps to square up your cabinet. Once all bottom screws are attached, you can finish up with the side screws. Now that the back is attached, I can trim the excess off the bottom to length. It is now time to secure the casters to the base. I'm using 3-inch timber screws for maximum strength. I place the casters as close to the corner as you can, allowing enough room for the screw to be placed without cracking the wood. We are now ready for the inside shelving. I start with covering the base on the inside of the cabinet with a piece of plywood and attach with 2-inch screws. Then I move on to the actual shelving. This will differ for everybody's needs, but our design was based on storing as much of our camping gear as possible. We created a tall vertical section as well as multiple shelves designed specifically for individual items. I decided to use a 3/4 inch cove molding because it is an easy way to attach the shelves and it would provide more flexibility if I wanted to move or adjust them in the future. To do this, I cut the molding to right under 24 inches. I make the mark at the predetermined measurement where the shelf will sit. Then use a 2-foot level and draw a level line at the mark. I then attach the cove molding with a 1-inch brad nailer along the line, putting in 4 to 5 nails. If you need more strength, you can add glue to the back of the molding before nailing. Once the support pieces are attached, I add the top pieces to lock the shelf piece in place. The beauty of this style is that later you can remove a shelf if you don't need it. Once you are finished with all shelves, it is time to build the doors. Before I build the doors, I needed to add a trim piece to the front bottom to cover up the pressure treated base and give a starting point for the doors. I cut a 1x12 piece of pine to 3.5 inches and 48 inches in length and glue and staple to the base. To build the two doors, I cut one sheet of 1/4-inch plywood in half to create two door skins. I then cut the frame pieces to their finished sizes. I placed the frame pieces on the sawhorses, line them up to create a rectangle the size of the door skin. I then apply the glue and then place the 1/4-inch plywood piece onto the glued frame and nail with the 1-inch brad nails. I set them to the side to dry. Once they are dry, I need to add the hinges. I purchased some European full overlay concealed cabinet hinges and an installation kit. I decided to do 3 hinges for each door. You can add more if you'd like, but for the weight of my doors, 3 hinges would be fine. I put one in the center of the door and one at the top and bottom 6 inches from the ends. Do make sure that you check the cabinet to see if your hinges may hit a shelf before installing them. I marked the doors with the hinge template and then drilled the holes with the provided bit. Once the holes were drilled, I attached the hinges with the screws. To attach the doors to the cabinet, I placed an 1/8-inch spacer on the bottom trim piece to set the door on and hooked the hinge hardware to the cabinet and screwed in the hardware. Once the door was attached, I performed the adjustments per the hinge installation instructions. I was now ready for the final step, applying the finish. I decided to use a solid stain that would protect it from the elements and last for years. I also wanted to do a two-tone to spice it up. I added a few other pieces of hardware for hanging items, as well as door latches and handles. I was now ready to load it up and put it to use. Thanks for tuning in to watch our video. I'm a do-it-yourselfer just like you guys, and you always can learn something out there. If you have any questions, comments, whatever you have to put in, any feedback, put it in the comments or contact us. All the information about our cabinet is in the description below. There's links to the hardware, whatever you need. Please check out our website. We have plans for this exact build if you're interested. All right, see you next time.